Well, good evening, everybody. It is the 7th episode of Real Talk Bluegrass. I'm Michelle Lee, your host. Thanks for joining us here on Bluegrass Music TV. Today is going to be a fun-filled episode of Real Talk Bluegrass as we get real with award-winning duo Kenny and Amanda Smith and Lauren Price Napier and Scott Napier. So welcome to the show, wonderful couples, on this Thursday.
Hey.
So, there's a lot of things that we are going to cover today, a lot of input from fans that I have been in contact with to ask some fun questions. So, first and foremost, we're going to, kind of run down a little bit about your guys' togetherness, because you're, together on stage for most of the time. Obviously, Kenny and Amanda Smith, you're always on stage together and off the stage together. And then Scott and Lauren, you play together on stage, you work a lot off the stage together. So first, Kenny and Amanda, you guys are an award-winning duo. I mean, you were IBMA Emerging Artists. Amanda, you won Female Vocalist of the Year in 2003. Or 2014, sorry, 2003 was Emerging Artist. And Kenny, you have won Guitar Player of the Year, not just once, but twice as well. So tell us a little bit about, of course, you two, just, about what Kenny and Amanda Smith does on stage and how you guys bring it together from home and on stage.
Gosh, go ahead.
Did you see that? It's so funny. We've always just went with the approach. We love to sing and play, and we love each other, and we never prepare skits, so to speak, or what we're going to say on stage. What you see is what you get, and it's usually what's happened that week. So that's what we hear about. But gosh, I don't know. What do you think, Kenny? That's my take on it. I mean,
it started really with that first record that we recorded back in. We started it back in 2000, and there was a lot of people was asking because they'd seen us maybe sing at a church or something like that, so they was wanting some music. So we recorded a project, and then WDVX down in Knoxville, a radio station, started playing some cuts off of that record, and that's pretty much how it all come about. And then that following year, we went to IBMA and showcased, and that was the first time I think people had seen that band that we actually recorded with. And and so we put one of the songs, Amy Brown, that we wrote on the. They used to have this CD that IBMA would put out, and all the members and people that visited, you would get that CD, and that was how everything started. I mean, it started from one radio station playing the song down at Knoxville, and then that CD that everybody got, and then so happened Dave and Mark Freeman got that CD and was listening to it on the way home, and they liked our song, so they ended up approaching us about a record deal, and that's how we got associated with Rebel. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
of course, Lauren, you and Scott, of course, don't normally tour together, but when I saw you guys toured together and performed at Mohican Bluegrass Festival about a year and a half ago. And how is this for you guys? Because when, Scott is a teacher and also performs, he's a freelance performer. How does that work for you guys when all of a sudden you guys need a guitar player or a second mandolin player up there?
Well, a lot of it, I think. What is it? Oh, yeah. A lot of it, I think, depends on his schedule with work. He's worked well. I mean, professionally as a touring musician for 20 years, but worked full time at the Bluegrass School now for the last 5. And that was within that time frame is kind of when Leanna and I started to try to get out and pick up some dates and start seeing what that would be like. And he's a uber talented mandolin player, of course, but also very good on the guitar. So that just kind of really fell into place and fit really well there, especially for a little while, to help us out on guitar. And that was nice. Of course, I don't mind having him around. But he is a mandolin player.
Right. Scott,
similar with Kenny, I think it evolved. I mean, they really had a band for the longest first stretch. So I'm like, well, I'll help,
Yeah, we didn't really consider a full-time band until this past year anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all about the music. As I told you earlier, it's my first time ever playing guitar on stage was with the gals, Price Sisters. So I was there for the music. But ultimately the mandolin brought us together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of the mandolin, so of course, how did you guys officially meet, Scott and Lauren? Because I've had a lot of people say, hey, it'd be really nice to hear the story because, was it the music? Was it, getting lessons or, how was that? How did that happen for you guys?
Well, yeah. Okay.
You do half, I'll do half.
Okay. Well, actually, Leanna and I were playing at which I was thinking about this earlier, and my mom was talking about this because I think they're watching too. But when we first met Kenny and Amanda, when Leanna and I were younger, it was at a little festival in St. Mary's, West Virginia. And that's actually the same place that Scott and I met several years later. The festival was a different name, but we thought that was kind of interesting. There's not a lot of bluegrass or like big name festivals up around home, but there was a festival that in St. Mary's, West Virginia, that was about a half hour from home for us. And we were playing, and the Lost and Found was the headlining act for the night. And he was playing with the Lost and Found. And I'll try not to get too long-winded, but I remember the first time I saw him, I was really embarrassed because I had no idea who this guy was, and I thought he was cute. And I just thought to myself, boy, he's really going to think I'm a nerd when he finds out that I'm the mandolin player with the bluegrass band. And then he was also a mandolin player with the bluegrass band. So, I mean, we were friends for a while, but just kind of kept in touch.
Well, it was not just the bluegrass festival. I remember they were having a fishing tournament.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of random stuff going on that was outside of bluegrass. So maybe she thought I was a bass fisher extraordinaire or something. I don't know.
That was in 2012. Right. Yeah.
But I remember being running into the coffee line and meeting her mother, Rhonda, and they kind of show up and they all kind of look alike. And I'm like, who are these people? And then later I saw them rehearsing and this girl's playing the mandolin. I'm like, is this real? Is this a dream or what's happening here? So that's what started it all. It's kind of from that evening onward. So. Yeah.
The beauty, the look, and the instrument blew your mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a collection of great things. I'm like, wow, this is it, anyway.
I think he's being sweet.
He took that fishing rod and reeled you right in, Lauren.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess that might work too. Yeah.
But we have a photo from that night. A good friend of Alan Mills and the Lost and Found, Stoney, we call him Stoney. He was with us, and he snapped a photo, the best I remember, and we still have it.
Yeah.
And it's literally the first time we ever played together, and we're in front of each other. So yeah,
that's cool.
That's a good memory.
Yeah, that is a great memory. Kenny and Amanda, I know I've heard the story as, occasionally, a few times, but it's a lovable story. I love the story of how you two met. And, so of course, I mean, we got a West Virginia girl. We got a, Kenny, you're from, oh my goodness, help me out here. Indiana?
Indiana. Yeah, Indiana.
Okay, all right. See, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm like, I'm pulling that one out of my head. So, I mean, how does that happen for the two of you to meet and, kind of start the relationship that has begun the history?
Go ahead.
Well, everybody was playing at Milton Opry House, and it was in Milton, West Virginia, right outside of Huntington. And Mom and Dad and we hadn't been to anything in a couple months, probably about 3 months or so, anything bluegrass. So Lonesome River Band Third Time Out was playing down there. It was like, let's go. And we went. And of course, Kenny comes out on stage. I have no idea Tim had left. Tim also. And I'm like, I told Mom, like, who's this? And so anyways, I watched the whole show and everything and went up to him after the show. And I stand there talking to him. I was really nervous. There was like a row of girls that drove up from Nashville that wanted to meet him because he was the new bachelor in Bluegrass or something. I don't know. Anyway, tearing a hole through my back, and I'm nervous, and he's throwing hints at me like, "Man, it's really lonesome out there in Virginia with no one to sing with." I'm like, "Really?" Just flying over. Anyways, but I gave him a little cassette tape I had made. It was a bunch of country songs, and it had my phone number in it. And I thought, I am going to give him this, and that way, if he'll have a contact, a way to find me if he wants to find me. And he called the next day when I was at church. So,
so
that's history.
That particular gig, me and Sammy had rode together because we live close to each other in the same town, Medicine, and I had this cassette tape, and I was like, man, I was just praying that Amanda could sing, and then I was afraid to in the player and listen to it because I was like, what if she's got this weird warble or, oh man. So I waited till all the way home, and then when I got home, the first thing I did was put that cassette in there, and I was just blown away. I couldn't believe her voice. I was like, man. Do
you remember one of the songs on the cassette?
Yeah, they were all country songs, kind of classic country songs that that I knew. I mean they were all good, but her voice, I just remember hearing her voice going, man, she can really sing. And I called her up, and then on our first date, we went back to her mom and dad's house, and so we're sitting on the couch, and she said, do you want to pick? And I mean, I just happened to bring my guitar with me, and I never had a girl say that, before, and I think we probably played 2 or 3 hours, I think, that night, and it was really wild because she knew a lot of the gospel songs that I knew and grew up, hearing. And I used to sing in a quartet when I and play with my cousin's quartet, and so a lot of those songs she knew from just older Southern gospel songs, and that was probably the neat part because we played pretty much 2 or 3 hours and pretty much knew the same songs, and that's pretty much where all this started. Really, was right there in her mom and dad's kitchen.
Look at that, right? Jeez, mom and dad didn't know what they let in the house, huh?
I remember her mom had cooked this. It was like a deer stew, and of course
my favorite.
I'd been on this. I'd been up in Medicine, where it's like on this mountain where they don't have, any fast food place or anything. So I'd been up there like 2 months, and man, I hadn't had any home cooked meal. And when she said, "Oh, do you want some of this?" And man, I was like, "Oh yes, I would love that." I remember everything. Everything she had on the table, from the bread, everything, and it's like, man, it was so good.
Oh, well, okay. So, Kenny, I'm going to start with you first because you played in numerous bands. You're touring with Amanda. You're also on and off the road with Band of Rooks, but you've played with Lonesome River Band as well. What in your touring time with all of them, and excluding Amanda, what is something that you remember memorable that has brought into what you and Amanda do on stage or even off stage performing?
Gosh, one of the things that I got from the Lonesome River Band was we were always trying to get younger people into bluegrass. And that was one of the things and then still, I mean, that's what we try to do too. It's that was one of the main focus in LRB was, to put out music that, that your dad would like, but also that a younger person gravitate towards. And that's really, I know that's one of the things that we try to do when we record. And it's kind of tough, like I say, it's and like I say, that one of the things that's happened too over the years, it just happened the last time we played, which was last
couple weekends
ago. Yeah, there was we got to pick with some great friends up in Indiana, and they were all, one of the jams, I think everybody in that jam was probably under 20.
Wow.
And the second gig we did at church, there were another two guys that brought their guitars and stuff, and we jammed probably
out in the church parking lot till midnight.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the best part of what we do, I think, is meeting all these young people and actually getting to share what we've learned with those guys, and actually everybody that comes up, you get to talk to them, and it's a big inspiration for us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I you have to keep in mind, like, as you're even recording new material, that you want to not lose the older listeners, but you want to gain those newer listeners, the younger listeners, to introduce them to some of the, original Lonesome River Band, Band of Rooks, the early stuff. And like for Scott and Lauren, I mean, everybody loves the traditional country and traditional bluegrass music, and they truly, Lauren and Scott, you guys, this is like your field. This is, you've grew up. I'm not saying Kenny and Amanda wasn't growing up in this department, but you guys are like hardcore, staying, with the hard traditional bluegrass music through and through, thick and thin. Scott, you've played with Larry Sparks. And both of you have worked with Bobby Osbourne. I mean, that is, how have you guys kind of taken what you have done and bring it to what you're doing now, especially for the Price Sisters?
Well, I'll just briefly talk about starting at 18 years old with Larry Sparks. I mean,
we saw him then.
Yeah. Actually, I think my first show ever, Kenny had just started with Lonesome River Band in Florida. Anyway, I mean, even though I've always been in traditional bands, I just think of myself as I just express myself with the mandolin. It's always happened to fall in traditional. I love it, but all those guys were creative, were originators, the founders, and Sparks is definitely that. So, although I have been traditional, I've always tried to be creative within the traditional format. So, I mean, I love traditional, but I love a lot of stuff. I mean, I have tons of jazz records that I listen to all the time. So, yeah. The good thing about younger musicians that's coming on that are traditional minded, they seem to really have a knack for it, more so than when I was in my early 20s. You play a couple Bill Monroe licks and you're good. You can play Bill Monroe, but this generation that's just now getting into it really go down deep for that. I think to where I was in that format, but I was still trying to be creative. If that makes sense. Not that you can't be creative and traditional, but there's a line there. So
when Leanna and I were growing up, we didn't grow up. We played some shows like around locally as the Price Family Band, and our dad would play guitar with us. And our mom and dad both have really good singing voices. But we didn't grow up in what you would think of in the bluegrass scheme as like your traditional family band. It was just Leanna and I as kids. And so when we grew up singing, we learned to sing and learned harmony singing from mom and dad. But that was kind of more on like Carter family style stuff. Johnny Cash and John Denver even was the stuff that they sang when they were growing up together. So that's kind of what we started out in. But and I know this was huge for so many in Leanna and I's generation, but the Oh Brother Art Thou movie came out when we were 5 or 6. And so when we started going to like little talent shows around, we would sing songs from that soundtrack. And they just seemed to really be suitable, you know, for what we wanted to do at the time. But as we got into learning more about what bluegrass was as its own community of music, we didn't really know. You know, I knew Blue Moon of Kentucky was a Bill Monroe song, but I didn't know anything about Bill Monroe or what his music really meant, like I do now, of course, in that regard. And started going to some workshops. Mike Compton was a huge influence on me when I was younger, and still is today, of course, but getting into Monroe's vein. And I say all this to say that as because I know a lot of people know me as a Monroe style player, and that's what I love. That's what I'll always love. But when you mentioned like working with Bobby Osbourne, you know, a few years ago, I never thought I would have gotten to be around Bobby like I have been now. And I consider that one of the biggest blessings in my life musically. And he is a perfect example as someone who is in the traditional vein, but always pushed the envelope as far as looking to make your own stamp on things. And that's been a big inspiration to me too, because you can still play traditional sounding bluegrass music, which is what I love and what I want to do and promote. But it has to be relevant to you, and in order to, you know, be viable as an artist yourself. And I mean, that's something I'm still figuring out, I think, but that's been for sure. But that's kind of been my take on it over the years anyway, especially.
Okay, for her to say that she literally was 5 when Oh Brother or Art Thou came out, I feel really old right now. Just say.
Maybe 6. I think 6, but
that's better. That's better, Lauren. I'm just saying.
Okay, speaking of that and being around these first generation musicians, I was playing at Ralph Stanley's festival every year with Sparks, and it was right before when all that was brewing, when they were filming the movie and stuff before it was out. He was going to sing "Oh Death" on the stage, and he was trying to tell him about it, but he didn't know what he was really talking about. You know what it was. They were telling him in the back the name of the movie. It's Coen Brother. He didn't know what that meant. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And he introduced it. Well, here's a song that's going to be in a movie. It's called Oh Brother, Where'd You Go?
Well, and that's funny, kind of on that note too. Our parents did take us to, and Alison Krauss though was a huge influence on. I mean, that was some of the first bluegrass music Leanna and I ever listened to when we were younger. But our parents did take us to one of the Down from the Mountain tour concerts in Cincinnati whenever they were doing that tour. And I mean, we didn't know who really any of these people were at the time, except Allison. And the only thing I can remember about that concert, because we were, I think, 6, is Ralph Stanley came out on stage to do the closing of the concert, and then he did like 5 or 6 encores. And at that point, I was tired of sitting there. And I feel so bad for saying that now, because that's really my only memory of it. But, you know, when you're little, I guess those things happen. But yeah.
It happens. It does. Yeah. Well, and you guys, all 4 of you have been an inspiration for generations. Well, for some, you know, for teaching and giving lessons. And so, Scott, you, of course, are associate professor with Hazard Community Technical College, the Kentucky School of Bluegrass and Traditional Music. Tell us how you got involved with that. I know I'm done. I'm over. Tell us a little bit how you
first, for starters, you have to learn how to speak well to announce where you work in this outfit. Well, just from the director, Dean Osbourne, I would rub shoulders with him in the Lexington area playing in bluegrass bands. And of course, he's relation to Bob and Sonny. And he puts on the Osbourne Brothers Hometown Festival here in Hyden, which is huge. And just, you know, being around that, I looked up after years and years of just totally surviving as a traveling musician. And it was I don't know. I felt like I was old enough to where I wanted to get more involved with a way to give back, but it was always in the back of my mind to work at that school, and not just any bluegrass school, but that school. So, just out of a discomfort one night, I sent Dean a message, and it was like 2 years later when the opening was coming up, and he wasn't allowed to get involved with the hiring process. He just nudged me and said, "This is happening. If you still want to do this, there's a hole here if you want to try to jump in this." And one of my musical heroes, Curtis Burge, I mean, he was leaving the school, and I just took a step at a time. I mean, I said, as soon as I got out of high school, I started on the road with Larry Sparks. So the realm of higher education was foreign to me. Outside of what they needed was a touring musician with 20 years of experience. So I did the audition, and baby steps, and I got the call, and here I am. I love it because I'm still surrounded with music, but as Kenny said, reaching out to young musicians and finding what clicks for them. It's been so good for me as a teacher, but also as a musician. I've discovered a lot of new music from the kids, if I can call them that. And it's really been a blessing, to say the least. I mean, to have a real job.
It's got to be a great feeling because you're teaching them, but they're also kind of teaching you in return. As they're bringing things to the table as well, right?
Exactly, and analyzing, and I'm sure Kenny knows, and Lauren, when you're breaking this stuff down and slowing it down, and sometimes they catch on fast and they play that back to you, and you think, oh, I could do better than that. Is that what I showed them? I mean, you really analyze your own playing, when you have.
Now, Kenny, for you, of course, I mean, guitar player of the year, numerous times. And everybody is fascinated by how you play. And I think this is kind of funny. Before I, have you kind of talk about lessons and things and teaching, it's kind of interesting. Both Kenny and Amanda play guitar. Both Scott and Lauren are mandolin players. I just, that I think is very unique. And I just like today's like as I'm looking at you guys, I'm like, wait a minute, I picked, couples that actually play the same instruments. So that's kind of awesome. But anyways, so Kenny, you of course, you've been teaching, you've been doing lessons, you do videos, you kind of, pulling the ropes of, especially during this time, during COVID-19 and the pandemic, where, touring is not an option right now. This is really where the lessons are coming in, right? A lot of folks wanting to, learn. And you don't just teach bluegrass style, you teach a lot of different styles as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I had my website up for, gosh, I think 2 years. Yeah, I had it up for 2 years, but I was slowly getting content up there. But this year I really got to, record, edit, and really get a step. And then I actually went to a subscription model a couple of months ago, and it's been a challenge, with this, because it's I've had to figure out how to film it, how to edit, and then sound, lighting, and we do everything. And I've got a great friend of mine that transcribes and does all my tablature, Hayes Griffin from Michigan. Yeah, and a good friend of mine. He's a great player himself, but he helps me with the tablature, and I usually get my lessons video, and I'll send him what I'm going to teach, and then I'll proofread it.
Oh, there's Annabelle, and she's like,
so it's been a journey, but this is a dream for me to actually, because anybody can get these lessons and subscribe. I mean, I've got people from Switzerland and Ireland, and it's bluegrass. I always think of it as right here in the States, but man, it is really worldwide, and a lot of you can tell on Facebook, some of the friends that asked to be my friends, it's just like they're from all over and they love bluegrass. That's one of the things that I love about the teaching website is all the people that has bought lessons. I mean, they're not just from here. I mean, I'm getting to reach out, to somebody that probably would never get to have a one-on-one, one-on-one.
Right. Well, so as you're filming these, when you're putting these together, I mean, you're doing probably a song that how long does one take to create? Because you're trying to give them, the front view, the angle, get close up to the bridge and everything. How long does one take for you to create?
Most of the lessons, like if I do a song, I'm usually doing the melody, and I do like kind of a improv break in the middle, and then maybe ending break. So it's kind of, most of them are around two rounds and with an improv thing, and I'll break that down. It's just variations, but most of the lessons usually take about, when I get them all edited, about 30 minutes, or about 20.
They wind up being.
Yeah, about 20 minutes on a song. Now, some of this stuff I've done is like, hey, here's 4 licks that you can use, and they'll be kind of different things, and that's for I kind of designed that for people that has played for a long time, but they're kind of in a rut and they want to learn something new. So this is kind of a quick thing that, hey, here's four things you can learn these and go out in the jam and use them. So I like doing those things too, because I've been there. You play the same old thing, and here's 4 new things you can bring to the jam. And I mean, it's I kind of, when I teach on the perspective, hey, this has helped me as a player,
right?
And that most of the things that I've got on there has been that. So it's fun for me. I mean, I really enjoy this. This is one of them, especially this year, because I really got to grow as far as the production of it. So.
Right. Well, and so, when you think about it, I mean, it's like you said, this is the time where something that you might have, like you said, started, but haven't really developed it. I mean, obviously, everybody, it was like, okay, God said, it's time to develop this, let's get this going for you guys, and everything. And, Amanda, where's your vocal page? I mean, seriously, you need vocal lessons.
No. I'm videoing. I'm the foreman. Everything's recording, and then I'll tell him, smile, you need to smile, and then he gets smiling, and then we fuss a little, and then we're back good, and that's my part. Now, we hope to add harmony and things like that and vocal stuff in the future. Way down the road, we get the guitar thing beefed up real good, the lessons on there. Though whatever anybody wants to learn musically will add for sure in time. Right now we're still trudging along learning.
And Lauren, of course, I know you give lessons as well. I know one of our fellow fans, Rick, out in California, is one of your students. And I think it looks like Cody Arnold is another student of yours, instructor. Because you're so, I'm going to use this word, so young. How did you get involved into doing instruction? How teaching yourself? Is it from Scott encouraging you, or did you do it before Scott?
Oh no, I mean I think definitely a lot of that comes from encouragement from him, because I mean I've always been more of a shy type person, and then everybody that knows me pretty much knows that, which isn't a bad thing. It's just my personality. But I've found, when looking back on it about my teaching, that it's kind of been one of those things that it's like I kind of make myself jump into it. Otherwise, I'll just get too nervous and talk myself out of it. But if I just say I'm going to do this, then I do it, and it's fine. And that sounds kind of silly, but I guess that's kind of how I've just tried to take on more of that stuff, especially more recently. I did some very beginner, like little ones boot camp at Bean Blossom mandolin. I think that was my first teaching position, was being their mandolin instructor at Bean Blossom for the week for a couple years. And then one of my musical dreams, I guess you could say, or goals, was to teach someday at the Monroe Mandolin Camp that Heidi and Mike Compton host. And I got to do that in 2016 and 17. And since then, I've just worked to pursue that some more. It's not been something I've actively pursued as much as we have been now building a band and working towards that and touring. But this year, especially, I've taken on more Skype students and FaceTime and have tried to do that more actively because it's, you know, it's a means of staying active myself. And I want to help others and inspire people that like I was inspired when I was younger. So it's been something that I've gotten more into, I guess, recently, you know, from the private sector. But I've done a few camps and yeah, it's so far I really enjoy it.
Well,
locally too.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Scott.
I was just saying locally as well. We have some younger students or that are interested in the school that are too young to come yet. So
yeah,
they kind of go Lauren's way. We've had several of those.
Yeah.
So
well,
yeah.
And I think, you know, as well as the festivals, you know, like you said, have, you know, workshops there at the festival, whether it's for a couple days or the full week. I think that's like encouraging for other artists who may not be like, oh, I'll take part of it, who else is going to be the instructor with me, kind of thing, and kind of introduce everybody into doing that to get used to being a teacher, because so many people do look up to you. I mean, you know, no matter, you know, how long you've been playing, it's how you play and how you present yourself on stage. And all four of you, you know, when I've seen you guys play, you guys present yourselves in a way where it's like you're reachable, you're teachable, and accessible. And that's one thing about bluegrass music. Artists are accessible to help others, from beginning to even people who've been playing for years, you know, that are, you know, are like, oh, I could learn a little bit more, you know, I mean, that'd be awesome. So one of the things I want to remind everybody, of course, the Price Sisters got an album on Rebel Records. Heart Never Knows is their latest. You guys are also in the studio, hopefully kind of working through the COVID-19, the pandemic, to get a new album started this year. But Kenny and Amanda Smith have With You, and that's on their label, Farm Boy Records. You've already have had numerous hits off this album. And it's just, I don't even know what to say. I mean, Too Often Left Alone, Feeling of Falling. When I first got the first single, I was just blown away, because, you know, I'm a huge fan of all yours, but it was like, oh my goodness, this music, it's so you. It's so Kenny, so Amanda, to the T. Whether you've written the songs or not, they are fitting, and which is remarkable. And currently, I know you guys got the Johnsonville. What's the name of that song? Yes, thank you. So that's been climbing up. And currently, I know on my show, a lot of people have been requesting How Many Rivers, which is a beautiful song. So, and Norman Rockwell Wall. Oh my God. We've had this conversation about that. It's unbelievable.
I wish I'd written
it. So, I mean, you guys definitely have a lot of amazing new music out. I mean, and everything. And again, what's awesome is you're being recognized for it. Scott, for your work as a mentor, you're nominated for the Momentum Mentor of the Year this year. For the Price Sisters, Lauren, you're nominated for Instrumentalist. And then your sister, Lena, is for Vocalist. I mean, that's pretty darn cool. And of course, Amanda nominated for the Female Vocalist of the Year once again this year. So that is, you know, kudos to what you guys do, because that is saying, you know, people are watching, people are paying attention, and they love what you're doing. But we're going to take a little veer away from the music, if you don't mind. And we want to get to know you guys a little bit more. Is that okay?
Oh, yes.
We're game.
We don't know what we're getting into, so we'll say yes.
So I don't know if you guys have anything to write on. If you do, that'd be great, because I kind of don't want you guys to see each other's answers. So you kind of can't look at each other. There's no cheating. Hi, Miss Annabelle. How are you?
I gotta get her in the
Love it.
I got a clipboard.
So you guys can't cheat. You can't look at each other's answers, because some of them, I prefer you not to. And don't be shocked. And disclaimer is this is for fun. Nobody's going to get harmed. Relationship will be intact.
You did not come up with these questions, right?
And that is true. Some of these questions I did not come up with. I'm definitely kind of going off the cuff of what I normally do during this show, but I felt you two great couples is going to be the ones to do this with me. So, all right, are you both ready? Are all four ready?
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna start with something simple. Don't you worry. What was the first song you danced to at your wedding?
Did we dance? We'll just put our favorite song. I don't know if we danced.
Really?
I don't think so.
No,
I know mine.
I'll put my favorite one
your favorite song.
at our wedding.
Favorite
All right,
song.
you guys ready? All right.
Yep.
At the same time, show them. I want to see if you guys came up with the same answers.
Hold on.
All right.
You gotta show 'em?
Scott and Lauren, go ahead first.
You want us to show them?
Show them.
Yes, you have to show them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, read them too.
Okay, it's a Tony Rice. You're as fine can be. The Gordon Lightfoot cover.
Lauren?
That's what I had too. Yeah, you're as
Okay.
fine can be. That was our first dance. So.
That was your first dance. How about you, Kenny and Amanda?
Hold
What
on.
you got?
Now. I'm good at this. This is like trying to. Okay.
All
Oh.
Oh yeah, we're singing.
Oh
Yeah. Oh,
Good.
I love that
Good
one.
song.
Yeah,
There
that
you
was
go. All right, maybe the paper thing won't work. Maybe we'll just have you say it.
That's
All
okay.
Okay. Ladies. All right. What was your husband's first ever instrument? Make and model if you can.
Oh my gosh.
It may
really
or may not be the instrument they play.
I think I know that.
Lauren?
I am going to guess. I think it was a mandolin that was called the Rebecca mandolin, made by, I don't know who made it, but I think that's wrong. That's the one I know of though.
Yeah, was she right?
No, I mean, but I've probably never told her this, but it was a classical guitar when I was like 13.
Oh no, I wouldn't know that.
The Rebecca was my first professional mandolin when I played with Larry Sparks. Yeah. So.
Amanda? How about you? Oh no, it's terrible, huh? It's all right.
Okay.
How about you?
Okay. I think I got this right. I think Kenny's dad built the guitar.
That's
Is
right.
that right? Oh, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I was sure because I knew he got a guitar for Christmas that was a Gibson, right, or something. You had a Gibson, a Yamaha. Okay.
Yeah, but he built
So I wasn't sure which one. Okay. Wow. One.
You guys are doing great. You're doing great. All right, guys. Without looking at her, what are the colors of her eyes? Kenny?
You better know.
They are brown. They are
Especially when she's mad.
With a little red flame.
Yeah.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I'll say blue with hints of greenish.
They're blue.
They're blue.
Yeah. They're blue.
Easy. Some of these are okay. Who's the better dancer? Raise your hand.
Oh,
Who's the better dancer? Yeah.
Doing that. Me. Oh, see, he's raising my. I like Zumba.
Yep.
Fun.
Like Zoomer. All right. What is your spouse's favorite junk food? I'll give you a moment to think about it.
We like a lot.
I would call it food.
Kenny, what's Amanda's favorite junk food?
Oh.
Amanda's favorite junk food. Now, her all-time favorite. Now we're talking. I don't call it junk food, but her all-time favorite, and even if we don't even have a gig, which we did in 2020, her all-time favorite food is pizza.
Yeah.
And
after a gig. Oh,
after a gig.
I don't care if it's 2 a.m.
Now this year we have to pretend.
Yeah.
But
we just about midnight. We crack out the frozen pizza and let it rip.
Okay. So what's Kenny's favorite junk food, Amanda?
Kenny's favorite? Boy. He likes brownies with ice cream, like a brownie sundae. That's one of his favorite things.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's what me and Annabelle make him when he's having a rough day.
He's gonna tell you, Amanda, I need one of those after this show. Thank you.
Oh no, we know. Me and B just go and start whipping it up.
How about Lauren? What's Scott's favorite junk food?
I don't know. He likes to eat a lot of the snacky things that I don't eat a lot. And I wouldn't. The thing that popped in my mind first, though, which I don't know if you consider it junk food or not, but it's peanut butter, because I think it could go either way, especially because he eats it all the time, and it's just one of those things that there's a jar of peanut butter in the fridge or in the cupboard or sitting out on the counter, and you'll find a spoon that's sitting on the edge of the sink, and you don't know whether it's supposed to be dirty or clean because he just eats a spoonful of peanut butter, and it's just like a never-ending cycle. I guess that's kind of what my answer would be, because that seems to be the thing that he eats regardless.
What does he like mostly with that peanut butter?
I don't know. He'll eat it on it, like he'll put it on lots of stuff that I wouldn't put it on. I mean, like, because I like dark chocolate, and like that's like my treat is.
Don't reveal your answer, my answer.
But like, if I'll be like enjoying my fancy little piece of dark chocolate that I like saved since Christmas, like in August, and I've saved it since last Christmas, and I'll share some with him, he'll put peanut butter on top, and I think, why would you ruin that? But yeah, so and on cookies or peanut butter sandwich, yeah, I'd say that's his go-to.
All right. So he pretty much told you her answer, right?
I don't know.
Oh,
Do I have a different answer?
An amazement that you still had chocolate from Christmas. That's impressive.
It's hard. Yeah.
I don't think
Sometimes.
for me,
We're always
chocolate
like,
doesn't last like 5 minutes.
Well, I guess there's hiding spots sometimes to where it's one of those things that like you won't find it. Yeah.
The chocolate.
Oh my. All right. Ready for the next question? When is your mother-in-law's birthday, Scott?
I always get her a gift, but I am sometimes reminded of when that is. It's in the fall. What? I don't remember that. Sorry.
Sorry, Mom.
Lauren, how about your mother-in-law?
Hers is either June 29th or 30th. I think it's the 30th.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you're right. Is she right in the month at least?
Yeah, she's got it. She got it.
What day is it? It's the 30th,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it's the 30th. My mom's is May 14th. So
Around Mother's Day.
yeah. Sometimes it's on Mother's Day.
That's always a good thing to remember. All right, Kenny and Amanda, when's your mother-in-law's birthday? We'll go with Amanda first.
Oh.
Man, I really don't remember. I'm thinking maybe it was the fall.
Yeah, August.
August. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
His mom, she's been gone since 2001, so we haven't had a birthday party for her for a little bit, but we will someday in heaven. But
So my mother-in-law is this Saturday.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
this is awesome. I love it.
Hey, Peggy.
Oh.
Alan, my brother-in-law, Alan Bartram, wear halos. So I'm telling you, they could do no wrong. She would get on to me and my sister first, even if it wasn't us.
That's right.
So
All right. Who spends the most money? Who would point to who you think is gonna spend the most money?
I was because it's guitars and things, then they don't cost like my things are like a shampoo's $15.
Uh-huh. Same.
I'll wait 2 or 3 years. I build mine up. I'll wait 2 or 3 years.
But they still.
And he's the one that doesn't consider himself a guitar player, but he has more guitars than mandolins, I think, or at least the same amount. So
They're actually tax write-offs, right, Kenny?
That's right. That's right.
Just helping out the income tax there.
All right, so I know. Okay, so Kenny and Amanda, you guys have been married a little longer than Scott and Lauren. Lauren and Scott are getting ready to celebrate their 2nd wedding anniversary. But do you recall what you gave your spouse on your last wedding anniversary? So obviously, Scott and Lauren, it would be for your first. And Kenny and Amanda, I don't even remember how many years you guys have been married, but it's been forever. So, but your last year's anniversary. Did you guys give each other anything, Kenny and Amanda?
We actually didn't. We went
on a trip. We usually do a trip.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a gift.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Right?
We had a gig on our anniversary this past year. We was in Texas. So
the good old days.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a gig. So I don't know where did we just do Disney World? I think we did Disney World, and it was late February going into March and so we just kind of combined our anniversary and shared it with Annabelle.
All right, Scott and Lauren, do you guys remember what you gave each other for your first anniversary?
First or last?
Well,
first is in like the only anniversary we've had so far.
Oh, I get it. Clever. Well, you're clever.
Yeah.
It was yeah. There's a vintage clothing store up in Cincinnati that's really great, and I got her a pretty nice vintage dress there, and then we spent the weekend at the hotel resort where we got married. So,
yeah. I don't know if I did anything apart from the hotel stay, but we got married at a hotel that has a historic mansion on the property.
Oh, pretty.
And so we went there to stay again last year to celebrate our first anniversary for the weekend.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. So, of course, you guys are used to performing, being on stage, being at concerts. Do you recall what your first concert you attended that you did not perform at together?
Yep, I remember this. We were dating.
All right, Kenny and Amanda.
Okay. We went on it was like, maybe 3rd or 4th date to Charleston, West Virginia. They had a Southern gospel thing, and it was the Inspirations, the Kingsmen. And now we're talking 25 years ago. They still carried bands, and things. Not that I'm against them now, but it was my thing. That's what I grew up with, was them old gospel groups, and they played and stuff. It was at the Civic Center, and it was on New Year's Eve. It was great.
There you go. Yeah. See, you remember something from the good old days.
Yeah.
How about you, Scott?
I want to see if this is correct.
Do you mean the first concert we went to as a couple, but we weren't playing?
Yeah, but it was kind of both for me, because my take on it. I played the day before at this place with this Tyler Childers, but I left and then came back to meet with her there, and we saw the Traveling McCurry's, or no, Del McCurry Band.
Yeah, it was the Del McCurry Band
So-
at Appalachian Uprising, which
Yeah.
has not been a festival now for several years. So that was one of our first dates was at that festival, which is
If you ever
Yeah.
attended that, you would. It's a doozy. Was
Yeah.
a doozy.
yeah, kind of a weird one for a date. But my mom and my dad and my sister was there, and he was there. He had played the day before. He's right. He played the day before with Tyler, and then he came back up the next day because we were going to be there again to watch Del.
To watch Del.
Yeah, so we watched Del together.
So I remember it was pretty rowdy, and we were on the very front row, and all this like a mosh pit kind of thing. And I remember it was either Ronnie or Jason looked out in the crowd and goes, "Scott," and here I was standing in the middle of all this. But yeah, that was our first concert.
Cool. Oh, that's good details. Good details. Here's a good one. All right. Do you know your spouse's shoe size? Scott.
I'm gonna go with 7.
All right. Lauren, what about you? You know his?
He said 9.5.
Or 10. 10 on boots.
10 in boots, but he's a 9.5, I think. Most of the time.
All right, Kenny. How about you? You know Amanda's size?
I do. It's around 7.5.
It used to be.
Used to be 7.5.
After being pregnant, my feet got bigger, which I heard and I thought they was all lying, but it's true. So it's an 8 now, but it was a 7.5 until 5 years ago.
Yeah. How about Kenny? You know his size?
Or is it 11? 10.5. 10? Oh, see, I don't shop shoes for him. He's too picky. He wouldn't let me pick him out. No way would you. I
That's a
mean,
good. All right. Whether it's getting ready for a show or not, and I want you to point to who you think this answer pertains to. Who spends the most time getting ready?
You play too. Huh?
I know. Well, it's right.
Oh man.
it don't take 2 minutes to do all this.
I mean, well, 2 seconds to do this here.
Oh, just teasing.
Oh, man.
It's definitely me.
Who's the cleanest?
The
Who's the
what?
cleanest? Cleanest.
I don't know.
Did we all freeze? We don't know who's cleaner than who?
Kitty said paper. Oh, I don't know. I hate to clean house. I absolutely hate to clean house. It is, shoo, it's not my favorite thing. So I don't know. I mean, it's not dirty, but it's a chore. You have a cleaning day.
Again, I did not come up with all these questions.
That's okay.
And there's a reason why I'm saying this before this one. Who snores?
Oh Lord, him. 4 o'clock this morning woke me up.
It's him.
So, do you have a pet name for each other? Scott and Lauren, do you guys have pet names?
Okay, you asked for it. I sometimes
me
like to
sugar.
call her my stubborn little princess.
I don't know. I call him Honey. I guess that's what I've always called him. I think. But yeah.
All right, Kenny and Amanda. How about you two? Pet names?
Yeah, I call her the Dutch Ridge Queen. when we just started dating. I was at Mohican Festival one time playing, and some guy came and goes, "Oh, you're dating that Amanda Collins?" Said that, said she's the Dutch Ridge Queen. And that there was this little place by
I
our
had
house.
no idea.
It was an auction house, and she used to go down there, and I guess she was a crowd favorite, but they all called her the Dutch Ridge Queen.
Okay, Okay, I will retract for the longest time, and still occasionally I call Lauren my Buckeye baby.
Buckeye baby.
I'm from Ohio, so
Oh, guys, OH man. All right, so guys, this is questions for you. First, what was the first meal your wife cooked for you, and was it good? Scott?
Why always me first?
Time to think because they've been together a little longer.
Oh,
but-
Lauren can cook too. This will be great.
I know. Was it chili and peanut butter?
That's an easy one. It's this magnificent mandolin cherry pie that had FOs and a bridge and strings. It's not a meal, but that's definitely.
Lauren,
They're kind of known for their pie. Their pies are really good.
they look good. I cook it all the time.
All right, Kenny. Do you recall Amanda's first meal?
It's not going to be as sweet as this pie.
Well, one time one of the first weekends we was apart there. When LRB, she decided to make the soup.
Minestrone soup.
Yeah, minestrone soup. Well, she had went to work when we got home. We got home early that morning, and when I got off the bus, when Sammy dropped me off my house, I went up and I saw this tomcat, and he was digging in the bank, and I thought, man, what is he digging? And when I went over there was all these noodles coming out of the bank. I was like, I can't believe this. And so when I called her at work, I said, hey, you're not going to believe this. I said, when I got home, man, this tomcat was digging in the bank, and I said there was noodles flying out of the bank, and she goes, oh, I can't believe that. She goes, I made this soup for you and I buried it.
It was awful. Oh my goodness. I cooked it for 2 days. It just never, it was horrible. No, oh my goodness. And I was like, disastrous. So I took a hoe, of course, and went out in the backyard. We lived on the mountain in Virginia, so it's very stupid because, of course, there's a million wild animals. And but anyways, yeah, I buried it, and I thought he'll never know. And went on to work, and then, of course, the tomcat called me out.
You're creative. I admire your creativity.
Here's one of the last ones for the couple questions. This is I'm asking it.
Can't be good.
So obviously, during this time, everybody relies on the internet, right? This is the way we do things. It's life. Would you rather stop using the internet, your phone, or deodorant? You only could pick one.
Oh, I'm terrible without deodorant. Like 5 minutes.
So Amanda, could you do away with internet or your phone if you got to keep your deodorant?
Internet. Now my phone I couldn't, because that's how I get to my family. I just have to come up with some baking soda paste or something from Arm. I would have to come up with something homemade, because
Wow.
I can't go without it.
How about you, Kenny?
Gosh, I'd say,
He'd die without the internet, wouldn't he?
yeah, I have to check on a lot of traps on the internet. Instruments, eBay. I mean, that would be a tough one.
He'd get the shakes.
Yeah.
Well, see, and the thing is, your phone doesn't have access to the internet. It's the old school phone.
Oh, it's the old
That's
school
okay
phone.
with me. As long as I can get a hold of my family, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
I could do without the internet, really. It would, at first it'd be kind of, but
I'll do the phone.
All right, Scott and Lauren, what can you guys do without?
I would toss the phone and just email people.
Okay.
I don't don't know. I really wouldn't want to go without deodorant either. I don't like I don't know that. I mean, we never had internet growing up, which I know, I mean, many people didn't, but a lot of people my age did, but we didn't. And I never had internet till we got to college. And so I could do without internet, I think. I mean, it's the way that we market stuff now and, you know, reach people, but if I could go to the library once a week, that's what we used to do. If we still had that option, then definitely, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right, last question. Scott, Kenny, this is for you guys to answer about your wives. Do you know the perfume that they wear?
Oh.
He can't even smell it.
Kenny, we'll go with you first because Amanda's cracking me up.
But he don't even know it because he used to work on a pig farm and it ruined his nose.
West Virginia Red.
They need to make a perfume for me that's called that.
Gosh.
I wear that.
What do you wear, Amanda?
I got a couple different ones. Armani Code is my favorite, and then Flower Bomb is one of my favorites.
Need to write that down.
You know, that wedding gift. You know, there you go.
Got it now.
All right, Scott. How about you? Do you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm imagining that since she has such this vintage vibe and stuff, and this is probably wrong, but I want to say Chanel No. 9.
I couldn't tell you what that smelled like if I wanted to. I don't honestly think I own a bottle of perfume, which I don't know, maybe you're supposed to, but I don't think I do. I don't think I do. I suppose I wore perfume on our wedding day, which I guess I did, but that's like deodorant. I mean, just use deodorant.
Oh.
I don't think I have any. So,
oh my goodness.
Do I win?
That's a lame answer on my part. Yeah, he won.
All right, ladies, do you know the cologne that your husband wears or doesn't wear? Or body wash?
Yeah,
She
this
bought
is
it.
easy. I buy it because I make him wear it.
Okay, what is it, Amanda?
Polo, the green bottle, and then I just bought him some Armani for men this past Christmas.
All right.
You're right.
How about you, Lauren? What's Scott wear?
He wears most often, I think. I think he has a couple, but it's one by Adidas that it's in a clear glass bottle and it's blue color. I don't remember the exact name of it, like Rain or
Moves.
No. Moves. Okay, Moves. But it's Adidas. I had the brand right.
Oh, on this funny note, okay, so going back a little bit into the music, so we're having fun. I appreciate you guys participating in those wonderful questions. I didn't ask them all, but I picked the ones I felt were good enough to share answers with. So funny stories on the road, whether it was with your wife, your husband, or other bands that you've toured with. Is there anything you guys could share with us that we could get a kick out of on this Thursday? I mean, kind of, continue the laugh moment during these times. We'll start with Scott and Lauren. Can one of you guys give me a good funny story?
I guess I could call up a long, 20 years worth of stuff, but this is fairly recent. When I first started working at the school, the Kentucky School of Bluegrass, I was super excited because I've been friends with Bobby Osbourne at least since 2000. But I was around him every week and 2 days a week. I mean, it didn't take me long to figure out that he was pretty high tech. I mean, he's on the internet, he's on websites. He texts and all that. Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, he's got the most up-to-date phone and all that all the time. So he was staying in the next town over in Hazard, maybe at a hotel. And I was driving back to Hazard. I was staying with my mom and dad for the first couple of years back. And I saw this car parked in this real remote area up on the overpass. I mean, just really dark. I saw like Tennessee plate, the tags in the car. I pull in behind him thinking, what's wrong? What's wrong with something going on with Bobby? I'm going to save the day here, and I walk up around his car, look in, and he's all wrapped up in a text message this long. And he's like, hey, Scott, he said, I was like, everything okay? He says, yeah, this is the only place between here and Hazard where I can get out a decent text. I just thought it was so cool. He's got this, he knows this one little spot where he can get internet, and it couldn't wait, he would get this text out. So
that's awesome. Lauren, do you have a story for when you guys been on the road with your sister?
I don't know that. I don't know that. Yeah, the one that came to my mind first, which isn't really a story in and of itself, but like the strangest gig we've ever played, maybe, was for a cattle auction, and they had us. This is several years ago now, probably, but they had us. It wasn't. I don't know if it was 4-H or what. It wasn't 4-H. It was like a cattlemen's association up home, and they wanted bluegrass music in the middle of their auction, to entertain the buyers and whatever. But it was just in a cattle barn. Of course, we're country girls anyway. We didn't think anything of it, except we just stood in front of the show ring and played while they pulled the cows through. And they were making all kinds of noise in the background. It was just like, yeah, kind of. It's like, well, I guess, we're there to play some music, so that's what we did. But it was kind of probably our strangest gig, maybe, would be.
That was cool. All right, Kenny, Amanda, you guys are up.
So many.
The most recent, we had a gig about 2 weeks ago in Indiana. So the Monday, we was heading back home, and where we stayed overnight. And so this Pilot truck stop, they had free RV dumping. So I thought, oh man, that's great. So we went over to the Pilot. So I'm getting our coach out there, and so I get in front of the tank, and I'm dumping, get my hose hooked up to the tank. And when we bought the RV, this guy, I guess, felt sorry for me because I didn't have anything. We flew out to Kansas, bought this coach off of this guy in Kansas, and so he gave me this dump hose. And I'm talking, and so I didn't know, and I've been using it for. We've had it for like a couple years. Well, and there's probably no telling how old it was before that. So, man, I get pretty much 3 days all at the festival or whatever. So I start dumping the thing, and I reach over there and I pull the valve like that.
It explodes,
and the hose explodes.
It was like straight out of the movie RV, like when
it was
Robin Williams
all over him. Yeah, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, my eyes, I go, oh my gosh, and I'm like, and then it hits me like, this is hilarious,
Gotta get the camera out.
I know it was in the coach. I just got outside because I thought, hey, fresh air, I'm gonna do this and get some fresh air. I didn't have my phone with me. I hate it.
Yeah,
it was all over shoes.
Oh, it went everywhere, and it was like when it's split in half, it was like a cobra, and it was.
Trying to jump out of the way.
And I was like, back. I was like, I pushed the valve closed, and then it was like, it was too late then.
Whoa! So, would you say that is something to encourage somebody to pursue a career in music? Is to have experiences like that, Kenny?
Yes, and it was and so
makes you stronger.
Oh yeah. Made me. So,
you had to go in before we could go on. It was
epic. And then I had to sit there. While all this stuff was on me, and I had to sit there and try to repair this hose so we could dump the tank. I mean, it was the worst.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was.
It was
rough.
rough. He smelled great.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're in this pandemic. Shows are canceled. You guys have been busy branding your guys' selves online. Kenny and Amanda, you guys released an album during this time with you, and like we talked about before, kind of things kind of help folks to learn how to play guitar. Kenny's got his website available for folks to check out, kennysmithguitar.com. And then, of course, we have Scott and Lauren. You guys do your teaching, of course, at the school. Scott and Lauren, yours is through Skype. And how can they, Lauren, get a hold of you for lessons if they want to take lessons?
You can find me on Facebook. I have my own page, Lauren Price Napier, or the Price Sisters fan page works just as well too. That's the page for the band, of course, that we run. And everybody can see that, but Leanna and I operate that. So Facebook is good. Well, pretty much you can find any website too. You can, my email's on there. Send me a message or send me an email. I don't mind.
Awesome. Well, this is always good. It's a lot of fun to always do something different outside of being on the radio and doing an interview, talking about albums, because this is a show where, obviously we get a little real. We gotta, kind of focus on getting to know the artist a little bit more outside the music. And this is, a great evening. You guys definitely have made this fun and memorable. So I truly appreciate all four of you being part of it, and Miss Annabelle. Besides the music and what, and kind of keeping that alive during this time, what else has been keeping you guys going? Because I know I follow all you guys on Facebook. So I know, Kenny, you've been a little active with rebuilding a Schwinn, right?
Yeah, I've got a pretty, I wouldn't say big bike collection, but I got a bunch of like 60s banana seat bikes and stuff. But the bike I bought at our local car show, it was a 57 Schwinn Hornet, which was like kind of a paper boy bike back in the day, and I've been rebuilding it. I just bought the frame at the car show, and then when I went home, I always collect parts and stuff like that. But I had a good majority of the parts that was on there, and I bought a chain guard off of eBay, and I'm slowly putting that together. But I got it together enough to ride it now. So I just like a couple of key parts. Looking for a tank. They had this tank, and then they had the fork truss bars. I'm still looking for that. So if any of the viewers got a 1957 Schwinn fork truss rod or tank,
we will trade albums.
Yeah, I'll trade.
58.
Well, and of course, I want to mention this because we all lost a dear friend in the business, Steve Gully, last week. And you guys, before when we all found out he had cancer, Kenny, you designed his sticker.
Yeah.
To help raise money, and you guys are continuously getting some more made, if I'm not mistaken, right? To help with the
100 orders.
Yeah, I had drew Steve for the T-shirt, and then I wanted to make some stickers, for him, case stickers, because musicians love. There you go. Musicians love these case stickers. Yeah. So I drew that. I drew a caricature of Steve, and for us to remember him by. But yeah, he's such a good friend and a good Christian guy. He was just a great friend. I mean, I'm going to miss him dearly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's that is like the coolest little character of him. I love it. So people, obviously, I encourage everybody to check out Kenny and Amanda Smith's website to order your sticker if you want to get one. Like I said, the money is helping with expenses and everything. So for this Gully family. So thank you so much for doing that. And it's, Scott and Lauren, you guys been busy as well. Scott, you kind of started doing this 5 must-have bluegrass album thing not too long ago. Tell us a little bit about that to kind of keep, things kind of loose and fun during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, my downtime from playing music is listening to music, pretty much. And a student, friend of mine, helped me build a turntable record cabinet, because it's so hard to find cabinets that hold records, and I have this late 70s Pioneer stuff, and got the cabinet. Finally got all my records together in one place, because I've had them in different locations and stuff. And then just going through my records, putting them all together, I realized I had several of my favorite records, because whenever I would see it, I would just grab it. 4 or 5 versions, copies of the same record. And then my work at the school around youth all the time, and knowing that there's a resurgence of vinyl, especially with youngsters. And then I was thinking about bluegrass musicians in different locations, to where you can't go to the yard sale and find 15 Ralph Stanley records that one guy bought over 30 years. Like in Eastern Kentucky, you still can do that. And I wanted to place those records into the right hands of kids that can't maybe find them. And yeah, you can listen to them on YouTube and stuff, but it's not the same. I mean, especially if you're a record collector. So I just put together my top 5 must-have bluegrass instrumental records and just put it out there. There's no strings attached, no catch. They're free. I'm giving them to the right. And I've had maybe 35 emails from kids from everywhere, from New Zealand to Canada, and it's really touching. In fact, I'm going to announce right now, I'm going to do a volume 2 coming up after this one. And we'll give 5 more of my records away to students or kids, just young musicians. So, yeah, it's a passion of mine.
Well, I think that's cool, because you do it for, like, if I'm not mistaken, to like, what, 18 years old that you giving up
11 to 21.
11 to 21. Yeah. So that's amazing. That is such an amazing thing that you're doing. Like you said, you got to keep the music in rotation. You got to get the youth involved, and that's definitely one way to do it. And so obviously, Amanda and Lauren, I know you guys been doing different unique things as well during your downtime. I mean, obviously, baking, cooking, gardening, canning, and
I don't know how to can, but
Oh, Lord, I would cry if you make me do that.
But Lauren, you have a unique thing. You and your sister, of course, we all know you guys like the classic style of clothing and everything, but sometimes it's time to make the cycle go around. So you've been kind of going through your closets and kind of putting some things up for available and seeing who's interested in, a piece that's been worn by a Price sister, right?
well, I guess I hadn't thought of it that way. If that's great. But
you think about it. If you have a picture of you in it next to the dress, boom, it's a Price memorabilia. People buy them.
Bam. That's right.
Well, we both have, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people in our generation kind of grew up with internet, but I think we're kind of the last generation to grow up with either or, just depending on your circumstance and where you're at. We grew up in a big family, and we're all really close and in the country. And so kind of old fashioned things has always been our thing. Our dad's an auctioneer. And so we just have always been around antiquing and that kind of thing. So Leanna and I have always enjoyed wearing vintage style dresses, particularly whether it's vintage style or actual vintage pieces. And since we were in high school, but the last few years of college, I started collecting some pieces that I liked and thought, well, maybe I'll get to wear this someday. Some of it I've gotten to wear, some of it I haven't. But, kind of like record collecting, it's if something stands out to you and it's in good shape, then, it's a thing I collect, I guess.
Right.
But anyway, I recently started an Etsy shop for that. And I'm also a cat mom. So it's called Tabby Cat Vintage Company. If you'd like to check it out. Selling some vintage clothes and some collectibles, things like that. And, you know, it's fairly new. So I hope it's something I can kind of keep up with for a little while. But yeah, it's fun.
That's cool. But Amanda, you do have something that you do. You sell the lipstick and things like that, right? Yeah.
I
You just
sell lip scents. I'm gonna I think actually just sell what I got and kind of get out of it. It was kind of tough, you know, selling it for me anyways in Bluegrass. It was a little hard, but I started cross stitching again. I haven't done that since high school. I get up every morning and I get my Bible out and I read it and I listen to a preacher, like a sermon or something, and sit there and cross stitch and just getting the word of God. And where in the past, I can't say I did that every morning. And since COVID, I haven't missed but like 2 mornings. That's it. And it's just been great.
you know, I think there's a reason. Sometimes, you know, people are like, they obviously too many people are out of work. Obviously, musicians especially are, and I think that at the same time you're finding peace with that in places of the Bible and with God. And I think, you know, that's the strongest thing that will keep you going, keep you moving forward, and everything. And of course, you know, our thoughts and our prayers are with everybody during the World of Bluegrass, virtual World of Bluegrass that will be coming up at the end of September, early October. I know, again, Scott's nominated for Mentor of the Year. For Instrumentalist, Momentum Award is Miss Lauren, and your sister Lena is nominated for Vocalist. And then Amanda nominated again for Female Vocalist of the Year. We wish you guys the best of luck in your categories, and we can't wait to see how the virtual World of Bluegrass will take place, because I know you guys have all been doing your part in doing that. And it's going to be a busy next couple weeks, I know, for IBMA as that all gets pieced together. But I look forward to seeing what you guys all have planned for your portion of the events. And again, I truly appreciate you guys being part of the show today. It's always great fun getting to know the artists a little bit more, like you said, outside the music. But again, both of you guys have wonderful music out. Kenny and Amanda, with you, a phenomenal album. People need to definitely snag it up if you don't have it. Lauren, you and your sister with the Price Sisters, you know, amazing, great projects from the EP to this album that came out in 2018. Looking forward to new material as well. Scott, we wish you the best over at the college and continued success inspiring those younger generations of bluegrass and old-time country music lovers. But most of all, you know, appreciate your time, truly. And Kenny, you know, keep that guitar picking going. You know, we all love what you do. And the songwriting as well. So we wish you guys all the best success. And again, thank you so much for being part of Real Talk Bluegrass today.
Thank you, Michelle.
It was fun.